Hey, how you guys doing out here? Associates Productions with... I already fucked that up.
Redo?
We're going to redo it. Hey, how you guys doing out here? James Humphrey with another episode of Real Talk with Real Men. I got my co-host with me, Kyle Stanley.
Hey.
And today's topic is the workforce.
Okay.
Employment.
Cool.
Talk about jobs here. Real men with real jobs. Oh, I can probably say I've had a good run of employment in my lifetime.
Like a lot of employment history.
Yeah.
Places, okay.
Like worked
I
at
can
several
say the
different places. Several different places.
Okay.
And I have this very, very bad habit of I have to be at a job for probably about 6 months to 2 years, and I'm ready to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get very
6 months to 2 years.
Yeah, 6 months
I
to
can
2
say
years.
about the same.
You know, where I'm ready to okay, I'm ready to do something else. You know what I mean? I think the longest job I ever had was probably about 2.5 years, and that was
your whole career of employment?
whole career of employment. Well, I guess I take that back. I did work for FedEx twice, so I worked for FedEx for 2 years, quit, and then I came back for another 2 years.
My longest stint at any one company was 5 years.
Oh, that's not too bad.
I feel like that was not long enough to where I regret wasting so many years. So I'm like, okay, 5 years was good enough scope to see everything I needed to see in the development of the company. So I was like, all right. But I would say so. I've bounced around to several jobs in more my latter years, but definitely starting out in high school and whatnot, there was definitely emphasis on staying one place and getting some tenure built up, maybe moving up and progressing through the ranks, but not so more in the current work field. I feel like it's more opportunistic.
It's more, I want to say it's more scarce.
Oh, man.
And I say that only because getting a job is so easy. Getting a job nowadays is extremely easy. Everybody's hiring, even with your, bad background, good background, good credit, bad credit, unapproved credit type shit. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But to actually move further up in a company, I think is a lot more scarce, and that's why a lot more people are quitting compared to sticking around. Because it's like you're doing a job for. At least this is my problem. It's like I do a job for, a while, get good at it, whatever. But then they hire somebody outside to do something above me instead of doing something. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I understand.
And so now, there's been plenty of situations where I've trained somebody to do that's supposed to do a better job than me. Like if I'm just a regular employee, but I'm training a manager.
In those situations, I see it's often a degree that gets that person from outside to get into that position. And maybe a family relation. Now, a lot of that shit is going on.
Which is understandable. Understandable. I mean, I get it. It's not like I was doing a bunch of complaining about it. And I've had my fair share of complaining.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, if you see all these other people within the company, why are you not hiring within the company, especially if you promote something like that?
I see that, and I will argue that it's just personal bias. People maybe crediting a degree over hands-on experience, which I would think a person there doing the job every day would be the most knowledgeable outside of maybe having some specific software knowledge, which is all learnable. As long as you can be taught, you can adapt and learn the software or whatever you may need to do to facilitate you doing the job while you're there on site already doing whatever parts you're doing. So I think it's more than reasonable to promote from within over hiring someone from outside who may be more progressed in education, but I often see people promoted from outside as well. In my experiences, I've worked in office settings and in warehouse settings as well, some retail in my earlier life, but I often see people promoted from outside before they pick within, and there's usually a family tie involved. Someone's cousin, sister, brother, niece knows someone that needs a job, and we'll definitely make you a manager, a lead, a supervisor of this, and they're just in there anchored, not really having any experience to back, that knowledge. And often they fail. Often it's a terrible decision for leadership because it takes certain qualities to be a leader of anything. You have to be able to connect with your employees as well as facilitate the job getting done. You facilitate the job getting done through the employees. So if you can't manage that and manage your own emotions and how you treat people, which is a lot to do as a leader in any leadership position, a lot of people fail, and I often see it go that way. So I'm like, why don't you just promote within for those reasons? But who am I?
I most definitely see the difference between being a leader and being a manager.
Yeah.
It's most definitely sort of deal breakers for a lot of employees where they're looking. Some people are looking to be managed. Some people are looking to be led. But it's a lot of managers in these leader positions that don't know how to lead.
Oh yes.
And they're just more or less telling people what to do, whatever this, whatever that. And one of my pet peeves when it comes to managers is that they don't sit back and think about their decisions. They just think because they're a manager, they have to make a decision.
Yes.
So they just make a reckless decision that most definitely affects the ladder going down.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, why didn't you think about doing this or doing this before you did this? You know what I mean? And they're like, I just made a decision. It's like, no, man. The great leaders just don't
Consult
make decisions.
someone.
You know what I mean? It's like,
get a consensus from the group or your board. Yeah, definitely.
I've ran into so many situations about that where I've actually given advice to my managers, like, I mean, you could do something like this or you could do something like that, and then they run with it, and then they totally flip the whole decision or the mind storm that we had, and he just made a reckless decision and then fucked everything up. You know what I mean? It's very irritating.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's very irritating. What would you say is a better job position, either like an office job or a warehouse job? Because I've had both.
Okay.
And I would prefer an office job. Where I use most of my intellect on something, but I enjoy probably some of the most camaraderie with others.
Yeah.
I can most definitely see myself being more of a leader in a warehouse position.
Labor-driven stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You get paid nice for your intellectual work. I miss my intellectual work pay. I used to do accounting for a while, and that was nice, but I didn't like the office atmosphere of... I worked in a predominantly female office, and they were highly nosy and highly emotional, and they don't get along with each other one moment, then they are talking to each other the next day, but then they're talking behind each other's back all the time. So it's like, I don't really want to associate with all of you because I know you guys talk and are messy with each other. So it's like, nah. And it just wasn't cool for too long of a time. I did it for about 2 years.
Oh, there you go. It's longer than usual. Or...
You know what I'm saying? I gave it an honest try. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the work. It's just the atmosphere. I just was not happy going to work. And for me, I value my personal, my mental peace, and going home and able to have that tranquility, being able to end tasks on a job and not have to take that burden home is important for me. And sometimes I leave and I have, emails and phone calls that I have to pick back up on Monday. So I'm thinking about this shit all weekend. Like, God damn, I gotta get this guy on the fucking phone by Monday because I got this deadline by next Friday. And that type of stuff, I've caught myself doing that, and I'm just like, nah, this is way more of a job than it needs to be now. If I'm thinking about it on my weekend, it's doing too much. So I, remove myself from that. But it's all personal interest because what works for one won't be another. And whether it's a warehouse setting or, a more labor's hands-on job than a intellectually paid job, that's whether you want to sit down or, actually be physical and stay fit. I don't know what a person likes and the money that goes according to each. So it's a personal question there, I think, whether you like X or Y. I have been successful in both. I'll say I'm a very adaptable person, I think, and I am willing to accept a task for just what it is and maybe an objective of let me do these 1, 2, 3 steps and I get my paycheck. That's how I approach a lot of jobs, and I've worked in various fields, from cooking to working in a garden to accounting work to inventory warehouse work as well, and retail stocking. Is just, let me learn the tasks, let me learn the processes, and I'll do the best I can at it. I usually excel, and it brings me to another point of, then I often get courted for leadership roles. And I look at the leaders that exist, and it's like, if their quality of life doesn't look that great, or if they're complaining and bitching about what they have to do and what their responsibilities are and how they don't get help or support from their seniors, that's not appealing to me. Even with the salary or the pay increase, if it increases my hours spent away from home, if it increases my stress level and things like that, it's just not worth it for me. So I've often been courted for leadership positions, and I turn them down for those reasons.
Well,
every one of them. As I think about it, like.
Well, that actually just run into my next question. Is like, for real men out here with real jobs, what is the quitting point? Because for me, you start out a job, you have a certain level of pay, but you don't know what the job is, right? And for me, it always, you get raises and whatever, but when the level of bullshit outweighs the level of pay, it's usually when that's when I'm ready to exit.
Your red flags.
It's like, you start a job, you don't know anything about it, you don't know anything about the people, you've been there for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, and now you're just seeing like, okay, this is bullshit.
Getting a sense of things.
Yes. This is bullshit.
Yes. Getting acquainted with everything.
But it's still paying my bills, but then it's the bullshit starting to outweigh the pay.
Yes.
Is when you start, at least for me, is I'm ready to exit and find something else.
For me, my bullshit has often come down to a respect factor in the work environment, whether I feel slighted or disrespected because maybe I'm the only male in the situation, or I'm the only black male in the situation, oftentimes the only one in the room. People just come off and talk to you any kind of way, and I'm a very professional person in a professional setting. I can definitely joke with you when we have the time, but I'm always on my P's and Q's because I am that black guy in this setting. I do want to outperform everyone and not be the reason for suspicion or scrutiny for a negative reason. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to perform at the top of my department, at the top of whatever I can, whatever accolades are achievable. I want to be in top 3. Soon I'll be top 1. That's kind of my attitude. And I kind of attack, whatever my duties are that way. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm conscious about that scrutiny of being that guy that's just, they're waiting to see you fail. They're waiting to blame something on you or scapegoat you if this shit doesn't go right. So I'm just like, nah, I gotta have my T's crossed and my I's dotted. That way, when shit is going wrong, I can sit comfortably and know that, nah, I did everything I'm supposed to do. I've been doing my job. If things aren't coming together as they're supposed to, everyone else needs to reevaluate what they're doing. Because I've been doing my job the way that it is supposed to be done. That gives me security. That gives me peace of mind. And that's why I'm often courted for leadership, because people see like, damn, Laura, you're always on it, you're always on time, you're punctual, you're detail oriented and things like that. You would be a great leader. And it's like, I agree with you. I do agree with you, but
I hear you.
I see the bullshit that you go through, and that just don't look fun. And even for the money that you make, I don't want that stress. So if I can make my money this way, then I often have a side job and a side hustle. I'll supplement my income multiple ways. I think it's very good to have multiple streams of income for that reason, so you're not so dependent on one paycheck. Have some side hustles, some side things, another job, a part-time gig or something, to where if you need to leave a job and if you feel like it's your time has come, you're more in a comfortable situation of, hey, I can either go to my second job and make that a full-time job, or at least I can pivot off of this money I have off my side gig until I find a new job, or whatever the case may be. But definitely set yourself up to where you have a little bit of cushion, to where you're not so paycheck dependent, to where, hey, I just gotta bite my lip and suck this shit up because I can't do shit else if I don't get this paycheck. You don't want to have your back on the wall like that. So
yeah, well, side hustles are really coming up compared to where they were, I guess 2, 3, 5 years
with the
ago.
aid of the internet, man, a lot of things.
Because you can easily,
becoming easily.
make some decent wages and decent money doing something small compared to just going to a regular 9-to-5 job or whatever. Because that's kind of how what happened to me was I was working at Amazon, and the level of bullshit outweighed the level of pay, and I was I was side hustling with Lyft, and when I finally decided to quit Amazon, work on the business, Toast Reach Productions full time, and I still needed to make some sort of income. I was doing Lyft, whatever. Then when I finally switched to doing Lyft full time, I was making more money doing Lyft compared to all the money I was making with Amazon on a month basis. You know what I mean? I more or less doubled my income. Just by doing Lyft full time. So it's like, okay, so this hot side hustle, I'm my own boss. Do what I do, make my own hours, all that other stuff. And there are some perks to it. Taxes wise, it's not the best.
Yeah, you gotta set aside some money accordingly. Yes.
So I kind of run into that problem.
Learning that.
Yeah,
yes.
learning that. But I mean, even with that though, I owe taxes, but it's not like a shit ton of taxes.
Yeah, it's just learning. You know what I'm saying? Going through it, you'll be even sharper next year.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
When it comes to employment, I most definitely feel, being realist of the real is doing what makes you happy.
Yes.
It's finding out what makes you happy.
Yes.
Is the hard part. Finding your full purpose on what you want to do and all this other stuff, and then trying to make money off of it. Because don't believe the whole thing of doing what you love. You'll never work a day in your life kind of shit. Because if you do something every single day, even the things you love will turn into, I don't feel like doing this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for me, actually like to switch it up. Instead of doing what I love, I do something that I'm good at, whether I like it or not. Because at least if I'm good at it, then
be consistent.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about it sucking or anything like that. You know what I mean? So I would say for the realest advice that I could give anybody, instead of doing what you like doing, do what you're naturally good at, and then you'll easily strive in whatever you're trying to do. That's most of
I can see that.
Yeah, my advice.
Okay.
On that matter. I most definitely like jobs that I don't have to deal with a lot of people.
Yes, I will agree with you on that.
So that whole introvert in me, I don't like dealing with a lot of people.
The new shit to say is emotional IQ, and a lot of people are lacking in that department. They just really do not know how to approach and talk to you in a respectful, professional manner, despite if they're going through tough things or upset or just temporarily frustrated. Still talk to a person with dignity and do not condescend.
Do you remember
disrespect.
Do you remember when you started a job, right? Like back in the day, like back in the early, 2000s, whatever. You started a job and you actually did like orientation, you watch videos on communication and whatever. And now it just feels like all you do is you watch videos about how to do the job. You don't really watch videos on how to interact with people, how to communicate.
There's no focus on the interpersonal skills.
Like they take the interpersonal skills completely out, especially if you're like not working with people. Like if you're not working with like customer service, you see it a lot when like you're dealing with customer service and stuff like that.
They have to be more aware of it.
But then even if you're working in a warehouse setting, you're still dealing with like 100 people working on a single shit. There's like 100.
People have their individual tasks, so it's like if I can listen to music and do my little 1-2 shuffle, I don't have to talk or connect with you. And I hate that type of isolation sometimes, but you find your people that you can kick it with and chop it up with. So I do appreciate that warehouse atmosphere to where you can be mobile and get around certain people you like.
Warehouse jobs they were good for me, but they wasn't good for me. If that makes sense, because I always had like a seniority type of level, so I could literally walk around and just joke with everybody all day, not do shit. You know what I mean? And my productivity was very low, but my morale was very, very high.
They love you.
Know what I mean? So it's like if you can make people laugh, they'll keep you around. You can make people laugh. And what happened was the turnover rate was so bad that all the managers quit. They brought in a bunch of new managers. The new managers like, why are you joking around? I mean, you need to work. It's like, I don't want to work. I've been laughing and joking for 2 years. Why do I want to work?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the bitch nigga. You know?
Yeah.
I gotta admit, that was the bitch nigga right there. It was like they wanted me to work. I was like, I didn't come here to work. I came here to laugh and joke and have fun. So
There you go.
if you want me to work, I'll go do something else.
There you go. Look back on that and take the lesson from it.
Yeah, it was really bad. It was really bad. I don't know, we're talking a couple minutes.
I don't know when we got started.
I don't know when we got started either. Man,
Well.
that's my bad. Should have kept more eye on it all the time. But we can edit that out.
Exactly.
All right, but that's it for this episode of Real Talk with Real Man. I got Kyle, you got me, James. See you guys next week.
Have a good night.
Later.
Boom. Man, nice.
Yeah,
That was
nice.
smooth.
That was smooth. I'm not joking, man. I was seriously like the fucking class clown at Amazon. It was really bad.
As long as it worked, bro.
Oh,
I've
man.
been in places where you fuck around a good amount of the day. Like an 8-hour
It was
shift.
90% fucking around.
8-hour shift,
You know.
man, you might work a strong 4. Like, I've given a strong 4 sometimes.
Oh,
and for
man.
4 hours, bro, it's miscellaneous. Off doing some other shit. Some whole other shit. So it's just, living like being young.
Were there any jobs that you got screwed over on? I'm sure there's some jobs.
I know I definitely protect myself before I feel like I got screwed over. So there's never an instance where like a job owed me money or, like some back pay or any kind of pay that didn't get paid out, or I feel like I got cheated on some kind of way. I always left before some tricky shit like that happened, but I have worked for companies where shit like that has gone down to where, you might have annual bonuses that are divvied up by so-and-so, Greg. And Greg is just allowed to divvy it up as he sees fit. So instead of production and merit, he's just off a friend basis. Hey, you get 10 G's, you get 5 G's. I'll give you 1,500. You can get 900 and this, that, the other. So and you like, God damn, really? Like, I actually took care of this project and that project. And then those times that you needed me to go to the other office, I went to the other office and I helped them out and type thing. And you think about all the extra shit you did, you're like, okay, but my bonus wasn't that. And then, another person that you see them in the office with, kicking it, chilling. When people chilling, don't want to be productive, they got their friends they hang out with. And they got a nice check, a nice bonus. You're not supposed to discuss this at work. Employers don't want you to discuss your pay, which you should. You also always should discuss your pay. Motherfuckers don't want you to discuss this shit, but you always find out. You know how the fucking atmosphere is. Everybody talks. And certain favorites then got that healthy check. You're just like, okay, I gotta kiss ass and suck dick around here, motherfucking get the appropriate money, and I'm just not that kiss ass, suck dick type of nigga. So I just can't do it. I can't do it. I can't fake the funk. I just really cannot. That's why it's always a respect factor with me when I kind of gotta leave a place, because I feel like you on some bullshit. And me being honest, I'm always gonna speak truthfully about bullshit. So if you're gonna ask me how do I feel about the situation, I think it's not right that you're doing this. I don't think that it's right that we do these practices or we're taking care of this way. I think if we did it this way, we could be more, like, I'm going to tell you what's really up. Other motherfuckers want you to bullshit and beat around the bush and say, I don't know, maybe if we did. Nah, I can see the real fixes in real time of what is going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, whether it be missing I work with inventory a lot, missing product and shit like that. You can look at a process and see where you're losing product. You can look at the whole process and see where you're having shortage. You can identify your problems. If you're not going to take the time and do due diligence to find out your problems, don't come to me for the answers if you're not going to award me properly for doing that work. And that's where I often get into a conflict, because they want Kent to be super nigga and do all the hard shit, do all the stressful stuff, because I'm so mild mannered and I can do everything. I can manage. That's why they, oh man, you're the go-to. Can you please take care of that? Yeah, I can take care of it. But then you're going to start abusing that shit. And it's going to be always, can you please take care of this account? I apologize. Can you please take care of this account? Like, certain accounts were like that in accounting and shit. Like, bro, I can do it, but you need to train someone else to be able to do it. Because you're not paying me extra for doing this account every month. You're bitching about this shit because it's the most difficult shit to do. And, I know he's this, but you can threaten him with fines and stuff and just tell him, if he doesn't send in his paperwork correctly, we're going to penalize him. But then they bluffing with the fucking company to where they're not going to fine him. So then I look like a dumbass emailing this man about fines that never come. And I'm asking for information and trying to complete my job as the middleman between company and participant, customer. I was like, nah. You're not gonna put me in all that damn stress just to I get no reward out of it. Like my little hourly paycheck is not worth that bullshit that you talking about right now. So nah.
I can literally explain the birth of Associates Productions.
Yeah.
So I lived in a small town, whatever. Came back with my family, had a wife, son, whatever. I went back to FedEx and I decided that I'm gonna give my all to FedEx. I'm gonna try to get up the ladder, blah blah blah. I knew some pretty high end, high level managers, whatever, that knew that I was good, hard worker, blah this and blah that. And so I started working under them, and I got promoted to operations administration, which is like a QA position for FedEx, whatever, right? And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna ride this promotion all the way to manager, go from manager to senior manager, all this blah blah blah. Ride the chain as much as I possibly can, right? So a manager's position came open, and I applied for it, did my interview, scored really good on the interview, blah this and blah that, and I think they hired they did interviews for like 6 other people, right? And so the senior guy brought me in his office. We're talking, blah this, blah that. He tells me, this is exactly what he said. He said, well, James, I want to let you know that we're not going to offer you the manager's position. Turns out that you scored the highest out of all the other interviews, but I feel like at this present time, we want to put you in a different manager's position compared to the one that you applied for. So the one that I applied for was a part-time manager's position. But he was like, he tried to sweet talk me into the whole, we might have some other manager positions opening up. Me personally, I feel like you're for a more full-time manager's position, blah this, blah that. And then when I found out that the guy that they hired was like this pill-popping retard motherfucker that scored lower than me on the interview. And so I'm explaining to, the manager like, I could take the part-time position and then just reapply for the full-time position, because I need that full-time manager's pay now. I don't need that later, because I actually took a pay cut for this promotion compared to the regular package handlers, that you guys were doing or that they were hiring. And so, he did some more sweet talking about this and blah that. It's like, we just, we're not quite ready for them yet. And when he said that, it's like, okay, I'm done. That was the level of bullshit or the level of pay where I was at, So I stayed for another 6 months or so like that, and come to find out that they were hiring package handlers, regular package handlers, at more pay than they were paying me for this operations administration position, this QA position that I had.
Yeah.
I was getting paid like $14, and they were hiring package handlers for peak season at like $20, $25 an hour. And I'm like, why the fuck am I still cleaning up messes and shit if y'all motherfuckers are hiring motherfuckers with more pay than I'm getting paid for the bullshit? And so at that time, I was like, I need to do something else. I'm like done with the FedEx bullshit. That you know what I mean? Hit the scale like that. You know what I mean? It really hurt maybe it was an ego thing or something like that, because they're doing the whole, stay around, more management positions will open, blah, and blah, that.
Hell no, you can't wait around for
And
the
I'm
next
like-
man to be ready yet.
I'm struggling like now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's when I finally decided, okay, I'm going to branch out and do my own thing. So if anything, FedEx should be, I should be giving kudos to FedEx because I would have never started Associates Productions if they would have gave me that manager's position. I wasn't even thinking about owning my own business until that day where.
And ownership is an important thing with employment. Like, I feel like my head was down in the world of being an employee, being in servitude to go earn a check, and I never thought about owning something an asset that generates money.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm more so in that mindset, and I want to start my own business type shit. And I'm like, there's so many things that I could do. It's like, if I would have started thinking this way and applied myself to it 10 years ago, a motherfucker could be ready to retire next year. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why the fuck? And it's just like, I think about so many things associated with that. Like, what was I doing in school? And where was I doing in motherfucking when I was a kid? Like, what the hell? What
It's like
things did I devote my time to where I didn't get on that train?
I knew in high school that I wanted to own my own business. I just didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then me and my boy at the time, we were thinking about like doing a bar or owning a nightclub or something like that, because that's back when we were in that scene and we were just going to nightclubs and hanging out and seeing all the money that we could generate with it. And I guess it was only until later on I'm thinking owning a nightclub and a bar is a dumbass idea.
Mm-hmm.
Those places literally lose money if you're not packing it up every weekend. Because who's going to bars and nightclubs during the week?
Mm-hmm.
During the work week, your normal work week, they only really generate money on a weekend where they're packing it with certain sales or whatever the hell on the drinks and shit like that. And so from there, I'm thinking maybe I should kind of follow in my father's footsteps and do some security, because he owned his own security business when I was younger. So I'm like, maybe I should start owning my own security business. I'm about this, my man. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do this shit. I actually got out of security and then went back to FedEx. That's when I went back to FedEx and started, digging around with them.
Yeah.
And then it's only until I started writing my own screenplays and writing my own movies and having so much joy and fun doing that shit.
Yeah.
But then that's when I say, don't do something you enjoy, do something you're good at.
Yeah.
And I'm naturally good at writing stories and screenplays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, but there are days where it's like, okay, I don't want to do this shit. Like, I don't feel like typing it up and everything else, but I'm like, I gotta force myself to do it if I want to, get the game plan going and everything else. And so,
that's good.
yeah. Thank you,
Glad
FedEx.
you have that joy.
Yeah. Thank you, FedEx.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys not hiring me, man. There was a lot of jobs I actually applied for that didn't hire me for a promotion. I'm like, I could be doing a lot of shit right now.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, bro. It never looked good. Never looked good. Oh, let's be a lead. You're like, nah. Like, for instance, a lady just hit me up for a leadership role in inventory at a previous job where I worked. She just called me back because the department is in distress.
And that's usually not good. Because it's like, if they're calling you...
Don't call me back to...
Yeah, they call you after.
Save the ship and lift the train back up. Like, god damn, I hate being in that position all the damn time.
Did they offer you like more pay or higher pay?
They hired me.
That's tempting.
It was tempting, but what I'm looking for now is even above that. So it's just like, you caught me at a bad time
you're paid,
where I'm valuing myself even more.
You know what I mean?
That. So, yeah.